All right, we're recording. All right, guys, I am excited today. I got Stephen Floyd in the house. For those of you who don't know, if you're in SEO and you haven't heard of this man, you are not in SEO. That's what I can tell you. I've been learning from him for about 10 years now. Just before recording, I was talking to him about this Yelp technique that I learned from him that was crazy. But I'm excited. I don't want to give away the introduction fully right now. I want to bring you on. Thank you, first of all, Stephen Floyd. I truly appreciate your time. Maybe why don't we do this, Steve? Why don't you tell us what you're doing right now, who you are, what you are, and then I'd like to go back to your life before you got into all this and your journey and things like that.
That sounds great. So first of all, let me start by thanking you and inviting me to this. You know that I love charities. You know that I have a 501c3. So it's one of my favorite things to do. One of my favorite things to do is to utilize your skill set to help other people. So again, good on you for doing this, and thank you for inviting me to join. So pleasure to be here. So right now, it's a great time to be a business person. It might be the most exciting time in history. The majority of my career, this career, I've run a digital marketing agency, and of course, that's what we're going to talk about. But right now, I am moving more into software as a service. I've actually had two in the past. One of them was successful. The other one wasn't, because I launched it literally 2 months before COVID, and it was a service that small business owners use. So unfortunately, that one was not successful, but I'm working on some now. And so I really like that, because one of the main advantages of having a software company, once you get it up and running and get it automated, is it allows you to have that kind of lifestyle freedom that I think most people want. I've had that, doing things, I've had that for at least 12 years now. I automated all my revenue streams to a point where, I'm very comfortable to work, honestly, 4 or 5 hours a week, and I wouldn't change my lifestyle. Obviously, if I want to work more, and actually I'm in a growth period. So right now I'm working, 30, 40 hours a week, but I haven't done that for a long time. Long time. But that's basically it. So,
Wow. No, I've been following you for some time. We'll get into that. I know you've been doing local SEO for how many years now?
Since 2003.
2003. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's a minute. It's a kind of an interesting story. If you
please go into it. Yes.
You probably know it already, because you've been one of my friends for 10 years or more. But I'll make it short. But so how I got started was back in 2003. So I was a computer repair technician, and there was a company that was like Geek Squad. So if you're from the US, you know that they send people to your home or your business to fix computer problems. Okay, this guy had started a company called Gurus to Go, and it was basically the same thing. Now, I was his technical expert. I was his subject matter expert. We started the business. We were equal partners, and we tried to use paid ads. We tried to use all the things that normal people do, and it was not successful. So I took about 4 months to try to learn as much SEO as I could. And my partner spent probably, he was the financer, he spent probably $50,000, no joke, on training and stuff. And in that 4 months, I was blessed to be able to get with the right group of people. And so in 6 months from the 4, I was able to get us #1 globally for the term computer repair. And when I say globally, back in 2003, there was only one Google.com. Now, of course, there's tons of Googles, right?
In every country there's Google. Yeah.
Exactly. But back then, so what happened immediately was hilarious. So we started getting flooded with calls for our call center and tickets into our online system, because you could book online, but they were coming from all over the world. We only provided service in the US. We had people calling from Thailand. We had people calling from Mexico. It was nuts. So our developers, I think they worked for 48 hours straight, wow, fixing it to where, people, geo, whatever, so people would only get to us if they were in the US. But because of those rankings, we were able to sell our company for a 7-figure exit in less than a year.
So 20 years ago, 7-figure, it's not the inflation 7-figure now. Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it was, it was great because, it was our biggest customer that actually bought us. They realized that they were spending so much money with us every year that it'd be cheaper to just buy us. So, but that was my first, actually, I'm sorry, that was my second entrepreneurial or business type, venture. I had a mortgage company before that I sold for an exit. That's another life. So anyway, but I just thought it was kind of fun because, and so then after we sold it, right, I didn't retire. And so I started doing SEO for local businesses.
So you started doing SEO for local business almost 2003, 2004 onwards. But I know you are probably one of the most experienced when it comes to local business, ranking, SEO, all of that stuff. So walk us through let's go through a journey first from then up until now, what you've been doing, right? And I know I've been following you, and I know at one point in time, you and your family were like traveling around Europe for years, if not months, or.
We, so my wife, her favorite thing in the world to do is travel. She loves to travel. So in 2021, we decided that we were going to move. So a year prior, I had gone to a mastermind in Marbella, Spain. And my wife came with me. We were there for 10 days and like basically a mansion. It was amazing. While we were there, my wife kind of fell in love with Spain. So in 2021, we decided to move there for a year, which was a horrible process, I'll tell you. It took 6 months and it was very expensive, but we finally were able to get there in August. It was 1 year, so we were there for a year. But I will tell you this. So we did live in Malaga, Spain, which is a beautiful city on the southern coast, Costa del Sol, as they call it. But because my work is only bound by internet connection, we were only in Spain maybe 2 weeks a month. So probably 2 weeks a month or more, we were somewhere else in Europe. So we mapped it out. In that 12 months, we visited every country in Europe at least once.
Your whole family?
My whole family. Yeah, it was me, my wife, and my, at the time, 13-year-old daughter.
You may not know this. I was following you and your Facebook post that time in 2021. And that gave me the courage. In 2022, I took my family, me, my wife, and 2 kids, and we moved to Australia. I lived there for 2 months.
Oh, I did not know that.
So sometimes we just post on Facebook, right? You don't know what's going to inspire who.
It's funny. I'm so glad that you said that. I'm so glad that you said that, because sometimes people get the wrong impression and they think that when you're showing things like that online, that you're trying to be brag. And listen, I understand that that's a tactic to sell things. I'm a marketer. I get it. But honest, from my heart, when I'm doing it, the reason I'm doing things like that is to do exactly what you said happened. So I'm so happy you shared that, because
and that's a good point. I didn't mean to interrupt you, because you're right. We see marketers all the time. Like, there's a difference between seeing you posting something. I do the same thing too. I don't post every little thing of my life, right? But I see marketers shirtless, walking by the beach, and then they got a Lambo behind. You can, if you got 2 brain cells, you can figure out who's legit, who's not.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, the true measure of a coach or a teacher is in their student success.
That is so true.
Right. So, the fact, how much money I make or how successful I am only matters before you become my student. After you become my student, then it's your success that matters. And I'm very proud to say that over my career of teaching, that I have helped hundreds of people start very successful marketing agencies like yourself. And most of them are, like people call digital nomads or laptop lifestyle. Most of them are people that, most of them are young. Some of them are married, some of them aren't, but most of them don't have kids yet. Right. But so they live literally, they'll live 2 months here, 3 months there, 2 months here. Like, they don't technically, quote, don't have a home. They just, they're always traveling.
That is a great point, because it's just been a circle, because I got the courage from you. I learned from you, right? You're one of my first teachers. Been doing SEO now that I was able to take my family. And that's just 2 months in Australia, but I've been traveling the world. Like, end of the month, I'm going to Sri Lanka. One of the reasons we're doing this now is because as part of my Sri Lanka visit, I'm visiting this charity. I want to give them a big check, because $1 is 300 Sri Lankan rupees, all that.
Nice.
But now that you mentioned that, yes, I'm happy whenever I close a new client, extra 5 grand, 2 grand come in. But my student, one of my students, Donald, okay, he joined my course November of last year, learned SEO. He's probably now, I don't know his exact income, but well over 6 figures. that he's now moved to Thailand. He's a digital nomad.
Oh boy.
Hey there, if you're enjoying this content, I'd love to take just 60 seconds of your time and share something very close to my heart. You see, I was born in the beautiful country of Sri Lanka. I was fortunate to escape the civil war that plagued that country for many years. While the country has enjoyed peace for 15 years now, the effects of that conflict are still deeply felt, especially by children who lost their parents, siblings, entire families. But I'm not just here to ask for a donation. I'm here offering something valuable in return, an incredible opportunity that could positively impact your own life. I partnered with over a dozen top-tier industry experts in SEO, online marketing, direct mail, YouTube ads, copywriting, entrepreneurs, and more. These aren't just any experts. They are 7- and 8-figure business owners. They've built multi-million-dollar businesses. But more importantly, each of them have also helped countless people achieve success. By supporting this cause, you'll not only be making a difference to these children, but you'll also gain access to exclusive knowledge, secret trainings from these industry leaders. As a matter of fact, I was able to even twist their arm to give away exactly what's working right now on YouTube ads, in search engine optimization, and even in depth in things like, how to get clients, schema markup, cold email, a lot more. Some of them even agreed to give one-on-one mentorship and group coaching opportunities to those who donate, all available to those who support this charity. Click the link to join the waiting list where you'll get access to all this training and more. You will receive an email with a link to donate and unlock this exclusive content. Thank you again. Right?
It's such a popular place for that.
Exactly, right? I could just rattle off these names. Like there's Victoria who came to me in COVID. And she's like, can I make $6,000? Is this legit? What is SEO? And then just like a couple of years ago, she's like, can I make 60,000 a month? Haha.
Right.
This, Tony Robbins says fulfillment versus happiness. I guess I'm happy when I'm closing a client, but may not, fulfillment comes to me. This is my kid that's now grown up, kind of a thing.
Absolutely. No. I mean, you're speaking my language. I'm the same way. In many ways. So if you're able to do something that makes you money and also is a blessing to other people, not just good or valuable to them, but you could actually, move it to the level of a blessing, then that's like, the dream job. I'll tell you one. I mean, I'm lucky to have, I don't know, hundreds or thousands of, like what you mentioned before, people literally almost on a weekly basis send me a thing saying, hey, I was your student here. You probably don't remember me, but I just want to thank you because now I'm doing this or doing that. Right. Which is amazing. Right. It makes me feel so good. Like if I'm having a bad day or I'm down with something and one of those pops up, I'm just like, oh, thank you. I needed that. But I had I promise I'll be quick, but there was a couple, we were doing a live webinar where we were selling a course. I had partners at the time. And a couple sent me a DM on Facebook. Now, I never look at DMs and stuff like when I'm on a live webinar, right? It's too distracting. But something just, I don't know, I just did. I don't know why. I did. And they were saying that they were in pretty dire financial straits, but they really believe, that it looks like this is something that could help them. And they said, you look like someone we could trust. What do you think? And, honestly, I'll be honest, I prayed about it a little bit. And then I said, I asked them a couple of quick questions. And then I said, I think you can make it. I think it'll work for you. I think you should. So they did. And then about 2 months later, I found out that they were, I'm going to say this quick because I get emotional otherwise. The financial problems were causing a divorce. They fixed their finances in 2 months. So it saved their marriage. So, they wrote me a 5-page, thank you.
Right.
So something that people, don't really understand a lot unless you do certain things is when you change someone's finances, when you help them change their finances, you change their whole life potentially. Having finances gives them the ability to do almost anything that they want. It touches every other aspect of their life. Just like when you give health to someone, when you help someone, achieve health, but when you get someone, when you change their finances, especially when you put them into a level of earning that they've never had before and a level of freedom that they've never had before, they'll remember, like they'll look at that in their life as one of the things, the pivotal things, you know, when I got married, when I had a child, you know, they will literally remember
Absolutely.
that,
Yes.
you know, and
100%.
so you may be just, you know, I look at myself as one tiny little spoke, you know, tiny little piece on their success, right? Because they do all the work, you know, all
Absolutely.
that. But, you know, it brings me a lot of joy to do that. I
That's a good
really,
point.
you know,
That's a good
enjoy.
point. I mean, right here, you had no idea your Facebook posts of you traveling Spain and all those inspired me. Not, I mean, I always had that idea to travel, but
Yeah.
okay, Steven can do it. I think I
Yep.
can do it. You know?
See, and that's the thing that I love about that, because you know, I can't tell you how many people that I knew not from online, people that I knew, and you know, like people I go to church with and
Right.
stuff like that, that actually started that same reaction. And a bunch of them said, you know, we had always wanted to do that, but we just really didn't think that we could do it. And
Right.
you know, and then when I explained to them, you know, how easy it is, especially if you don't want to stay a year. You know, if you just want to stay 3 months, you can stay 3 months pretty much anywhere without a visa, right? A
Right.
year, you have to have a visa in most places in the world, right? But, you know, I explained the process. I explained how straightforward it was. And then I had a couple of friends do the exact same thing. Exact same. They didn't go to Spain, but I'm saying they moved to Europe. Both of them moved to Europe and stayed there a year, you know, brought their whole family. And, you know, I got a 13-year-old daughter at the time. You know, she's 16 now. But, you know, that's something that was pivotal for her whole life. You know,
Yeah.
she got to experience, you know, all kinds of cultures and people and, you know, traditions.
It
And
is crazy. I know. I got a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. Both their birthdays are this month. They're going to be 13 and 9. And even this morning, we had the conversation. They were like, we should go to Australia. They went to school there for 2 months, and it was a different experience, you know?
yeah,
And they were just like, maybe this summer we'll try, you know, it's a different story. So let's jump into that, right? Yes, you're successful, multiple 7 figures, local SEO, right? Somebody watching this, maybe new to SEO, maybe trying to make the money, maybe they've been in SEO, but looking to make some steady money, right? I want to dive into a few things on what's working now with SEO, local SEO. It's getting harder for GBP verifications, maps. What are you seeing landscape wise? Maybe why don't you start with, are you still servicing clients? What are you doing now? Let's start there, maybe, and then go ahead from
absolutely.
there.
You know, it's funny. So, you know, there's not one road to success, right? To be a, you know, a local, to help local businesses, you know, get traffic, right? Lots of roads to that success, you know? So there's really not right ways and wrong ways necessarily. But a core of my training, since I started training, one of the core elements of it, and this has never changed, is sticking to the basics. Because what I can tell you, what I found a lot from people who have come to me from other people, other, you know, trainers, other courses, is that, you know, a lot of the tactics and strategies they were employing were temporary. Not that they were bad or they didn't work, you know, but they were, you know, there were loopholes, you know, and they were temporary. And, you know, if you have, there's other strategies in SEO to make money with temporary rankings, you know, churn and burn as they call it. But when you're working with local businesses, you have to treat their business like it's your personal business, because, you know, you can't play with their money. You can't play with their life. You know, if you do a bad job for them, you know, you can significantly damage, you know, a business owner, you know, and when you hurt him, you hurt his employees. It's a huge responsibility, huge responsibility. So that's been one of the main things that I've done, you know, since the beginning. And one of the things I think that separates me from a lot of other SEOs is I'm very lucky to be good at being proactive. And the reason why I'm so proactive is because I personally, and I enjoy this, by the way, but I personally stay very, very active and engaged with lots of other, you know, places to find information on SEO, lots of different communities. And I also do my own testing. I have done my own testing since I started, basically since I started my agency. You know, I found out that the best way for me to make sure I know what works is to have sites, you know, that are my sites, you know. And so if I want to say I have a strategy, you know, that works, and I want to test it to see if I do more of this, will it help or hurt? You know, I can't do that with a client, right? I can't play with their business. So that's been one of the keys, because I'll tell you, I've found some tactics that have worked for me and for my customers, right? That I've never seen or heard anywhere else. Like, things that I just, and I'm not unique. Anybody can do that.
Right.
Another thing that I think is very important is understanding how Google views SEO. Before you can, so in effect, if you do SEO correctly, you're beating Google, because Google earns its living from selling pay-per-click ads. So if you're able to get traffic from Google to a customer without paying Google, then they don't like you very much. So, they don't want to see you succeed. But to be able to beat someone, you have to understand someone. So I am, I have a black belt in Google SEO, right? And it's been lots of time and energy. I'm certified in all their products. You know what I mean? I have all their certifications. I keep them current. So I always know what Google thinks about this. And the thing that's so valuable about that is then it gives me the opportunity to say, is it right or is it not right? And so it's funny is the way that they structured their rules actually gives you clues on what to do and what not to do. If Mueller, the guy that, is currently, the speaker for Google, if he comes out and says that this particular strategy or technique does not work, don't do it. It's a good idea maybe to look at that.
Chances are high it may work, right? Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I can tell you, I have strategies, you probably know, I have a software company that adds geotags to images. Okay. Very, very basic technique. Okay. But many SEO training communities, and of course, Google, they all say that it doesn't work. It doesn't matter because of this or this or this. And I'm like, okay. I have hundreds of testimonies from people that use it and it works, and I use it and it works. So
geotagging, right?
Yeah. So maybe it's a coincidence is what I'm saying. So maybe we're all just lucky,
I was not doing geotagging for quite a few years. And then last year, I do a lot of testing just like you do. I started testing with geotagging.
Yeah.
One of my MedSpa client, it ranked in the map pack. Of course, we did everything else off page, on page, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, maybe this is something that's geotag, and we tested it out. It works. So now we've incorporated into SOP. It's in my SEO course, all of that. So testing plays a big role. So I want to dive a little bit more deeper. What and I know you have a lot of strategies, tips, and techniques with ranking in the map pack, ranking in SEO. Can you share anything to our audience, anything that the average SEO guy may not know? Anything at all, what's working with you right now, what breakthrough you had, or what's something that is not so easily available outside? Is there anything you can share here so the average person who's listening to you like, oh my God, I should look into that? Is there anything like that?
Well, on something like this, I think I mentioned it before we started the recording, if that's appropriate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
So, I didn't know if that was,
I want to ask you that. I didn't want to directly ask you. So,
okay, good. No. So this is something, so there's something that there's a technique that people are using to harm other businesses' Google Maps rankings. Okay. So it's intentional and it's malicious. And so you're talking about, competitors, or other SEOs that are competing with you. This is not something you can do by accident. This is the same thing as clicking on other people's ads, right? Clicking on other competitors' ads to destroy their budget, right? To steal from them. Let's be honest. That's what it is. It's theft. You're stealing from them. So what's happening is this. So, you know what? If you can I can share my screen and show you real quick. I already have it up.
Yep, go ahead. You're welcome to share your screen. Yeah, we'd love that actually. I think you're one of the first or second. You're the second person to share the screen in this whole interview series. I love it.
Well, good. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So what I want to talk about real quick is, so what happens is, so I've just pulled up a random company. It doesn't matter who this is. You see here, it's CoreLogic. So I went to Google Maps and you see this here. This little red dot, okay? Yep. This is called a map pin.
Okay.
All right. So this is a map pin. So what this is this represents your address. So if you look over here on this company, it's 3001 Hackberry Road, Irving, Texas, 75063. Okay. So that's what that represents. So that's what Google thinks is the place that you offer your services from. So the customers that find you on Google Maps are going to be people in this area and, a certain radius outside, right? So you know, the number one reason why Google created maps, okay, the whole reason they created maps, I remember when they did it, is because they wanted to make it easy for people who are out and about to be able to find local businesses and get directions on how to get there. So they wanted to make it easy for you on your phone to say, hey, I need a haircut. Type in barbers near me. Okay, there's one, hit directions, hit go, and then all of a sudden your phone's telling you how to get there, right? So that's literally why they created maps. But everything is based on the address, okay? So what happens is this. Here's the tactic. Here's what these people are doing. So you'll see here on the left that this is, when I click on the map pin, it presents this information, this knowledge panel, basically. And when, let me see if it's going to scroll down. Okay. You see this button here that says suggest and edit?
Yes.
Okay, now this is public, so anyone can look at what I'm looking at now. I'm not logged into anything, okay? So when you click suggest and edit, okay, you'll see change name or the details, close or remove. By the way, that's another strategy I'll talk about another time. But the one I'm talking about today, I'm telling you, it's rampant right now. It's maybe one of the most talked about topics, but not everybody understands what's going on or how to fix it. I'm going to show you both. All right, so when you click suggest and edit, then right here you see this pin. All I have to do is drag it. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to hurt this business. But all I have to do is drag it to somewhere else. Okay. And then I hit submit. So I'm a stranger. I don't have anything to do with this business core logic. But if I see him on Google on maps, I can go in, I can click this suggest and edit. I can click that button, the top button. I can go in here, can move this to wherever I want. Okay. And hit submit. And right now I've tested this. By the way, I tested it with my sites. I didn't mess with the sites. 8 out of 10 times they took the suggestion. 8 out of 10 times they moved the map pin.
Wow.
Okay. So this is devastating. This is devastating. If you're a local business and you rely on your Google Maps listing, which some businesses, that is the main way that they get customers. In fact, many businesses, maybe most. If you're a local business, you rely on this, you know? So when someone messes with that, like this intentionally, it's like taking food off of your table. It's like they walked into your house and literally took the food off of your plate and walked out with it. Absolutely. You know, to me, it's despicable. It's theft. It's just, you know, it makes me angry that there's even things like this. And really, you know,
so if they accepted it 8 out of 10 times, that means it's going to affect this business's map rankings as well, right?
No, that's what I'm saying.
It's not impacting just by address looking.
Yeah, when you move that address and Google crawls that, which they crawl it hundreds of times a day, immediately your rankings are going to change.
Right. Oh my God.
And listen, you know how people normally find out? The way they find out is their rankings go away. No, first of all, the phone stops ringing. That's what first happens, right? They're like, whoa, what happened? You know, they're used to the phone ring, and all of a sudden they go to work one day and they're like, we need to check the phones. The phone's working. Let's call a phone company, right? I can tell you this because I know people this has happened to. Okay. I mean, I know businesses this has happened to. So then they finally figure out, you know, oh, it must be this. And then they see this, and then they're just completely dumbfounded. They're like, well, what happened? I don't understand. This is wrong. What happened? You know, and then at that point, most people don't even know how to fix it. You know, so at that point, then if they don't have someone, you know, a lot of people do their own maps stuff, right? You're a small business owner, okay, especially, you know, and you know, it's like throwing a nuclear bomb in the middle of someone's business, and it's just you know, despicable. So let me tell you real quickly how to fix this immediately.
Oh, would love that. Awesome. Yes.
Okay, and then I'll show you how to a couple ways to prevent this. All right. Awesome. So the good thing is that fixing this immediately, all you have to do, you have one of two techniques that you can use. Okay. And I'm going to tell you that the technique that you shouldn't use is actually the one that works most often. Okay. So what you should do is you should log into your Google business profile account, okay, of your business, and you should change the address in your, you know, in the toolbar, in the, you know,
back to my original address.
Right. Here's the problem though. If you do that, 9 times out of 10 times, they're going to make you re-verify.
Right. Got it.
Which means that what? Your listing's going to go away until it's verified again. Right. And you know as well as I do, that can be days or weeks.
Yep.
So even if you do what you're supposed to do,
Yeah.
even it hurts you. That's why
Yeah.
this attack is so bad. It's just deviant. Google should not allow this. I can't believe they allow it. Okay, so here's what you should do. What you should do instead is do what they did.
From inside my, so
You
just from
log out of Google completely,
got it.
or open an incognito window,
Right.
go to suggest and edit,
I'm bringing it back.
and put the correct address to move it back, because as I mentioned before, 8 out of 10 times they'll do it.
We'll do that.
All right, so that works 100% of the time. So the first thing we talked about, of course, is with the issue and why you need to fix it. The second thing we talked about is how to fix it, and the last thing I'm going to show you is probably the most important part, which is how to prevent it. Okay.
Yep.
So, I forgot one important thing. I'm sorry, I forgot one very important thing. Oh, I'm glad I didn't forget this step. So when you're using this technique and you go back in public and do suggest and edit, very, very important. You cannot be logged in with the account that's associated with the business or a domain email account. Can't use either. Okay. So, preference obviously is going to be to a Google account, a Gmail account, right? When you do edits on Google, you have to be logged in, right? Typically. So you're going to have to use a Google account that is not associated with the business. So don't use the one that you do, because then actually what it's probably going to do is trigger a reapproval. Yeah. So again, I'm sorry I forgot that. All right.
Good point. Yeah.
All right. So how can I prevent this in the future, or hopefully prevent it from ever happening to me? All right. Number one is that you want to make sure that the email that you have that manages this account, okay, first of all, make sure that it is tied to your business, and that it's an account, because what happens a lot of times is, as employees change at businesses, multiple people will claim multiple map listings because they don't know who, or so-and-so set it up and they have the password, right? And so it's a nightmare for them. So let me save that for you in the first place. So you specify a certain email, like what I use is verifications at, whatever the domain is, or a modification of that with Gmail, right? So you make sure that, and then you make sure that you set notifications on. Okay. It's very easy to find that in the Google business profile. Okay. Or you can literally Google how to turn on notifications, Google business profile. Very simple. Okay. And then this is the step that even people who have done that miss. Away. You have to monitor that email box.
Right. Yeah.
So many people I know that have done that. They've set this up and then it's an email that they never check. So that's not going to help you. Okay. So, you need.
Oh, no, this is awesome.
Yeah. So, you need to do that, that way, hopefully it's not going to happen, but if it, happens immediately, you're going to know. Okay.
So I've had a couple of times clients reach out to me and said, this has happened, and I did not know that.
Yeah. And so there's one more thing that's very important. Okay. So what's going to happen, the other reason about the email, because what's going to happen is when they do that suggest and edit, okay, you're going to get notified about that if you did what I just told you. So you're going to get an email that says that a person, doesn't tell you who, because if sometimes Google suggests edits, okay, and you sure probably most people have seen that. But if someone has done this to you, then you're going to get an email immediately before they put it into effect that says someone has suggested this update. So before Google accepts it, okay, so what happens is if you don't get that email or you don't read that email, then after a certain period of time, they put it into effect. Okay. They just assume if you said that it's not a bad edit, that it's a legitimate edit, right? Not all the time though. I'm not sure, why that turns out to be 8 out of 10, or, why it happens. I don't know. Maybe the other two people actually get the notification and say, no, I don't know. It's a similar technique to people who, try to claim other people's listings, right? So lots of techniques, but anyway, so that's basically it. So if you have an email address that is set up, for your GBP, and it's an email address that, I would say that you keep that as an email that you get notifications on. I would either make it the official business email that you make sure that is going to answer like during normal business hours. Or if not, it's so important, I would even have it on a email address that the owner of the company uses if it's a small company, or,
Right.
if it's a little bit larger company, maybe whoever the general manager is. But, this is a very important thing.
This is important. Yeah. That
Yeah,
is awesome because I mean, as soon as yes, if at all somebody makes the change, you get the notification. You can fix it before it goes into effect, right?
that's right. That's
That is
right.
amazing.
So, you know, so that's the thing. And listen, I can tell you, if you're watching this and you can say to yourself that you have not set that up the way that I explained to
I
you,
have not set that up, so I should.
you're just waiting for a problem.
Yeah, that's a good.
And I'll tell you what, man, I don't know if I almost think that someone has developed a software that does this like in mass, because it's overwhelming how many people have had that happen to them.
Yep.
And the fact that Google has done nothing is just, it's shameful.
Yeah. No, this is amazing. I remember learning these tricks and tips like you did, because something like what you just shared, right? I can provide this as a service to local businesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just go and I will make sure your GBP is bulletproof and nothing happens to it. And if every business owner, one of their most important assets is the GMB. It's obvious.
Right.
Amazing.
No, and also keeping it up to date, right? That's valuable. And obvious, and two, honestly, if you added a posting service to it, which would be, a tiny bit more work, but there's tools that will automate that for you, then yeah, like you said, that's a very nice, add on to your existing client, right? Or you could, it could be a value add for what you already do. Or as you mentioned, it could literally be a standalone service, and if you're able to convey, how important it is, to have these things under your control. And especially if it's something that the business owner doesn't want to, like for example, website management, right? Who manages your website and that someone's doing it is extremely important. But most small businesses don't do that. Most small businesses don't monitor security things, right? They don't know if someone's trying to, break into their site or put spam links, on their site or anything that's negative, right? There's all these negative tactics. And if you're not actively securing yourself, then you're going to be a victim. You're going to be a victim,
This is good. This is awesome. I love it. So this is awesome. Thank you. You can stop share if you don't mind.
Yes.
I also want to ask you, so in your agency now, obviously you provide local SEO service, right?
Yes.
And as part of that, is it just the SEO rankings that you provide? Do you also do you do any reputation management? Like what else do you do? Stuff like that. I'm just trying to understand.
So I am what we call a boutique agency, right? And boutique's a fancy way of saying that I'm small, right? But here's the thing. I have had periods in my business where I have done everything. I've had periods in my business where I offered everything, but I outsourced, significant portions of it, right? And then I've had times where I did everything, right? And right now, what I'm doing is I'm doing everything. So, and when I say me, of course, I don't mean me personally, but I mean my team, right? And so the easiest way to say what I offer for my local clients is any way that you can get a lead to your local business is something I'm going to help you with. So that's everything from SEO to getting leads from citation sites like Yelp, to paid traffic from Google, Facebook marketing, social media marketing. Of course, that depends on the client. Certain platforms are better, for certain types of businesses. But here's the thing too, another just quick tip. One of the things that I do when I am onboarding a client is I will look at everything that they're spending on marketing outside of me. Okay. If they're doing anything. So for example, let's say that they're paying Yelp, okay, for an enhanced listing, right? Then what I'll do is I will monitor that for a month. Okay. And then I will do a very quick return on investment analysis. Okay. And I will tell the business owner straight up, you're paying Yelp $200 per month, let's say, and you're getting 5 leads per se. Okay. For that. Right. So I would say, would you say that that's worth $40 a month for those, or $40 a lead, right? How many are you closing? Like, the $200 that you're investing every month, what is the return on investment? How much are you getting back? Now, if it's good, we keep it. It's great. And you know what? I start to monitor that for them. So that becomes part of my job. It's very simple. Okay. A tactic that a lot of people miss actually is actively getting leads from your citation sites like Yelp. Simply offering a new coupon every month. I can't tell you how much money I've made from my clients with that one tactic.
So what, you just update the citations they're already in with some kind of a coupon?
Yeah, like, so if they have Yelp, for example, all I do is I offer a monthly coupon. That's it. So, but when people go to Yelp, right, people like coupons. Now, of course, it works a lot better in other, well, let me tell you this. Let's say you go to if you go to a pizza, you want some pizza and you go to Yelp to find it. If there's not some kind of a coupon, you're going to feel ripped off, right? Because would you expect a coupon for buying pizza, right? Now if you're buying a microwave or something, you're not going to expect, but here's what you can expect. You can say, this is November, so in celebration of Thanksgiving or for Black Friday, we're offering X% off with, here's very important tip too, with code blank, right? You have to measure this. So you never just have a coupon that says, it's this price or this % off. You always have to have a way to monitor that. If you don't measure it, you can't change it or know if it's effective. So always put a coupon code. But I can tell you from feedback from my clients, you literally will, earn, you'll raise your value of your customers and you'll get more customers. And, business owners that are savvy understand that
that is what I love about you, Steve, because this is something, I mean, I know coupon, but this coupon code makes sense. And that's what I said. I allude to the fact that Yelp, little things like that Yelp listing ranking inside the Yelp, ranking your Yelp listing inside the Yelp, I learned. I remember providing it as explaining it to one of my clients, and it was an upsell to that client, right?
Yeah.
These clients want the little things.
It's also, I'll tell you what, it's also very impressive to them.
Yes.
When you show them what's actually happening, when you show them that when people look for this service, one of the listings on page 1 is Yelp. And what should happen is that should go to the service page for that category for that city. That's what should rank. So if Yelp is on page 1, when you click on that link, it should go to a service area, a particular service in a particular area page. Right. But the method that we're using, it goes to you. Like that, I'm just saying, it impresses me, Right, I mean, but when you show that to a small business owner, and I'll tell you one other thing really quick. Sure. Another thing I liked, so the first month or two of my new clients, there's all these things that I do to reinforce the value, and I make sure they understand it because it's important to keep them. Because attrition rates are very high in traditional agencies. They're very low in mine. The average lifetime of a client in this industry is 3 years. My average is 7 years.
Wow.
So
you have clients paying you every month for 7 years.
7 years. Yep. Wow. And you know what? I had one client say this, and it's so funny because I felt the same way about purchases. One of my clients told me that every month every month I send him an email with an invoice and a report. Okay. That's all I sent him. That's all I do. And so one of my clients told me that every month when he gets his invoice and he pays it, that he has a big smile on his face. And every month he pays my bill and he's happy to do it because he knows it's the main thing that's fueling his business. I'll tell you what, it's so easy. If you're paying me $2,000 a month and you can see and understand, because I teach them how to do that too. I teach them how to basic analytics so they can see the value. If you're making anything more than 2,000, then it's a good investment. But our average clients, and I'm going to speak for you too, because I know that this is going to be true for you too. You're going to do at least a 2 or 3 times ROI, right? At least. Yes. So if they're paying you 2, then they're going to make at least probably 6K or 8K or 10K. Right. And here's the nice thing. When you do your work properly, they get what they get. If they happen to get, listen, if they get a 20X ROI, I don't raise my prices.
Absolutely. Yes.
I don't raise my prices. I'm just happy.
Exactly.
I may offer them additional services, right? Yes. Or I'll tell you what typically happens. When the ROI gets to where it's kind of ridiculous, that's when I start talking to them about expanding their area or moving to another city or something like that, right?
No, this is good stuff. So in your report that you don't do week meetings, face-to-face meetings with businesses and all that, right?
Ever. No, and this could be 3-hour call, so I won't go into this, but I've said this before, my most valuable skill is not SEO fulfillment. It's pre-qualifying clients.
Okay.
Okay. The reason why, so my agency makes 7 figures and I work part-time. Okay. And by myself and just with a handful of outsourcers. Okay. My net income is like 97% or 96, my margins, I'm saying.
Wow.
Keep like 90, exactly 96 or 97. Okay. And the reason why is because I only accept clients that are perfect for me.
Can you give an overview of your pre-qualification process? Like, give me
Absolutely. So I know that, again, we've learned from each other for a long time. So I know one of the things you probably remember learning from me, well, at least I taught it. I don't know if you learned it from me first, but it starts off with a discovery form, right? So right there, that's the first step. And the discovery form I make intentionally long. I ask lots of information. Okay. And so so if they don't fill it out, we're done. Right. If it's a lead and they don't fill out my discovery form, they're done. I don't have a phone call. We don't do anything. Okay. They don't waste my time. Okay. But if they fill out the form and they kind of half do it and whatever, I will send them an email saying that I don't think that we're a good fit and I'll refer them to some other people. Okay. But if they fill it out completely and I can tell that they've taken some time and effort to do it, then statistically, they're going to be my client.
Can you give a few fields that goes, what do they have to fill out in the, what kind of pieces of information do you ask in that?
Sure. So a lot of the basic stuff that you're going to do, I'm sure your form is probably very similar. A lot of things that I'm going to ask them are things that are going to require them that they're not going to be able to answer just looking at it. There are things that are going to require them to either have, unless they're a very hands-on business owner. So like I'm going to ask them, what is their average LTV for a client? What is their average transactional value for a client? You know, things like this, because if they don't know the answers to those things, or if they don't even know what those things are, they probably can't afford me. They probably need to find someone that's, you know, more budget friendly, because I'm not cheap. You know, I don't market my company as the cheapest. I don't compete in the cheapest. I compete on the highest perceived value, right? I'm like a Rolls Royce, right? To them, but I'm a Rolls Royce, but you pay the Toyota price, right? Because I'm significantly cheaper than all the agencies in my area. I charge $2,000 a month. A comparable agency in my area would charge 10. Okay.
And do 10% of what you do.
Exactly. All they do is content marketing. If you have a traditional agency in the United States right now, I can guarantee you 90% of what you do is content marketing, because that's what everybody thinks works, because Google told them so. Right? Google said, all you got to do is create great content. Okay. Now, you know what? That actually kind of works at scale. You know, if you have a budget to produce lots of valuable content and market it properly, that can work. Okay. But if you're a local plumber, all right, local plumber, you know, what kind of information are you going to provide that's going to be interesting to a local, you know, business owner, right? If you go to a plumbing website, do you want to read a blog post about the best way to, you know, fix this, you know, leak? No. You don't care about that. You don't want to see an infographic about that. You don't want to watch a podcast about that. You don't want to watch a video about that. All you want is your issue fixed when you call a plumber. All you got to know is, how do I get a hold of you, right? Click the call button. It makes your whole business, right? Click the call. You want to be open all the time if possible, right? And then if you answer the phone immediately, which again, could go on a diatribe about that. But, you know, if you answer the phone immediately, you've got their business, unless there's just something crazy that goes on, right? They're not going to ask you for references and, you know, because exactly, because most plumbing jobs are emergencies. Most plumbing jobs are emergencies. And I'm talking about, you know, residential, not commercial, right? But if a homeowner calls a plumber, it means that typically something is wrong. And typically, you know, a good percentage of the time, it's something that is time sensitive, you know? You know, even if a toilet is just having an issue, most people, they don't want it to sit there for days, right? They, you know, if they can afford it, they want to get it fixed, right? So I will tell you though, also, so one thing I like to ask them is how they've invested in their marketing, you know, in the past. That's important to me. You know, what is their marketing budget? You know, and that I give them, you know, another, you know, options, you know, and the average business in the United States that's successful and profitable spends 5 to 7% of their gross income on marketing in sales, 5 to 7%. So that'll explain to you why my sweet spot for my business is businesses that are doing between $2 and $5 million a year. Okay. And there's a lot of businesses doing that much. People would be surprised. A local plumber, a local roofer, a local, electrician. A lot of them are doing that gross, not that necessarily, but gross. So, without being a math expert, or a genius that can do it in her head, if they do $1 million a year, that's $50,000 to $70,000 a year invested in marketing. Okay. So that means if I'm doing all their marketing, okay, then if I charge them $5,000 a month, I'm right in the middle of, right. That's not exorbitant, but what's funny is, and I'll tell you this too, the average business in the United States that pays for SEO pays $3,000 a month. That's the average. And that's a thing that people who are new to SEO, a big mistake they make as well is they significantly underprice their service. Right. If a customer is willing to pay $3,000 a month, if you can do a return on investment for that, which if you're competent, not even good. Say you're not an amazing SEO. Say you're just average, right? Say you're a 5 out of 10, then you're going to do at least a 2 or 3 times ROI. And if you ask as a business owner, if 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, right? Once things start, going, if they know that they pay you $2,000, let's say they only make $4,000 back.
I'll take that.
Right. That's something we're happy and we're going to keep going, right? But the chances of that are very low. If you're just average, if you're just mediocre, you're going to do at least 4 or 6, right? And again, if you're thinking about the multiple sources, right? So I've got leads coming in from ads. I've got leads coming in from, like I said, from Yelp. I've got leads coming in from maps, right? I'm not just doing, one thing, right? So very easy. But I'll tell you real quick, the last thing. Sure. Every client I meet in person. Now, you could do this through a video. So you don't have to do it like I do it, okay? But I do not take clients virtually, okay? I have to meet with you in person. So that will tell you too, I only have clients that are in the North Texas area. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. So all my clients, well, all my SEO clients, excuse me, I have, other businesses, but all my digital marketing agencies clients, they're all in North Texas, okay? And I will meet with you after, if you fill out the discovery form, I will do research and I will make about a 30-minute video. And in that video, I will explain to you what I think needs to be done, the competition, and then I'll give you pricing and a timeline. Okay. Very basic. I'll say our budget's going to be $3,000 a month. And
you share the budget on the video itself?
Yes. Yep. Now I understand that that's a tactic that won't work for some people or some industries. Absolutely. I'm glad you pointed that out. But I work exclusively off referrals. So this isn't cold traffic. They didn't click on an ad.
Right. You're in a point now where you get a lot of referrals. Got it.
You know who's referred to me? Somebody that is already a client that I'm killing it for.
Yes.
So some guy goes, hey, my roofing business, I'm not getting any clients, right? And he goes, oh, you got to call my guy, Steve. He's been killing it for me for 10
That's the best. Whenever that happens to me, that's the easiest clients to close.
That's what I'm saying. So what happens is the client doesn't understand. They're not considering if they're going to hire me. I'm considering if I'm going to allow them to hire me.
The buyer-seller dynamic is just changed now.
So if they fill out the form and they fill it out correctly, I do that video, like I said, and I'll tell you, it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to conduct the information, to get the research and to do that 30-minute video. Okay. So I don't take that lightly, and I'm very good at this. So that's why it's 2 hours. When I first started, it might take me 8 hours. Okay. But again, before I do that time, before I spend 5 minutes, I have a very good idea if it's worth it based on that discovery form. Okay.
Before you even put in a minute to record it.
Exactly. So I can tell you that I don't know what the exact percent would be, but almost 100% of the people that I sent them a video became my clients. Okay. Wow. It's not 100%. So last thing I do is I meet them in person. And the reason why I meet them in person is because I want to make sure that they understand the nature of our relationship. And this is how you have a one-man multi-million-dollar company. This is the key. Okay. And to freedom. The key is they will understand that after the first few months, so in the first few months, I meet with them multiple times in person. Okay. I do this in person to teach them certain things. But after month 2, our relationship is going to be this. every month I'm going to send you an email and you're going to pay my invoice. That's the complete relationship. You don't email me, you don't call me, you know, we
I
don't go
love
to
that.
lunch. Okay. And the thing is, let me explain it this way though. This will make sense to people.
Mhm.
When you pay for electricity, right? Okay. So the bill comes in, right? And you pay it, right? Because you got electricity that month, right? You don't go and look at the meter and how many kilowatt, minutes did I use? And what was the price per kilowatt hour? And what were, right?
Right.
You don't care. Phone bill, same way. When you each phone bill, do you, look at every call and did I make that call? What was my price per call?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
you just pay your phone bill. Your goal as an SEO agency owner should be your bill is like the phone bill. So they can read the report if they want. And if they have questions about the report, we can answer them. Okay, no problem. But in the first 2 months, I teach them how to read the report. So by month 2, when it's over, they don't have to ask me questions about the report. I literally show them exactly where I get that information. I get the information out of Google Search Console and Google Analytics. And there's a couple of other places from some other sources, but for primary, that's primary where I get it from.
Love it.
So here's the nice thing about that too. They don't have to guess about my data because lots of marketing agencies, Yelp is the worst about this. When you pay Yelp, Yelp tells you how many clicks and how many calls and all that. It's complete crap.
Right.
Complete crap. Because they get the data, they make the data.
Right.
But when you do it my way, you tell them, you go, hey, these are your rankings. This is your traffic. Look, we're in your Google Analytics account. I'm going to show you your data. It's not mine. I can't change this. I can't go in and make it look like different, right? It is what it is. And so, there's that comfort level and there's their security level, that the data they're receiving is correct. Because I'll tell you, as people that have gone through multiple agencies and had bad experiences, that's something they've experienced. The agency says, oh, you're getting all this. And they're like, you say that, but.
No, this is awesome. I love it. This is a whole masterclass on getting expectations, getting a client reporting, Steve. It's amazing. I appreciate it.
And I'll tell you too, the people that are willing to do that, any reasonable business owner, that's what they want. No business owner wants to talk about SEO with you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Nobody. Nobody that'll pay you.
Right. Yeah. That is so
the
true.
people that want to argue with you, and I've had clients when I first started that would try to, argue with me about SEO tactics. And I'm like, okay, do you go to your dentist and tell them how to drill? Probably, but you're not going to be my client.
No, I could continue talking to you. I love it. I value your time, but you've been such a giving mode right now. I'm going to ask you a little bit more, right? So one of the things I do, Steve, is as part of this fundraising thing, all of these interviews is bundled along with one of my training that I'm doing for a base donation. They get that, right? So my whole thing is instead of going to my audience and saying, hey, I'm raising money for this orphanage I support in Sri Lanka, I don't want to do that because everyone's supporting something. Everyone's got some cause close to their heart. So I want to provide some value. So if they're donating something, they're getting a value, right?
Right.
But if they donate a little bit higher, maybe $47, $97, I haven't come up with a price point. I'm also including some secret training, some specific strategy from every speaker person I'm interviewing here that's not easily available on the internet, right? It's not like a YouTube, hey, here's a non-title tag, put your keyword in the title tag. Not that simple as that. Some kind of a training. You've already shared your screen and given away something that I don't think anybody even teaches outside. I thank you. I'm trying to push it a little bit more. Is there anything that of any special training or anything of value that you can give away as part of this fundraising event, Steve?
I will tell you that only because it is for charity and only because we've been friends for so long. Absolutely. So I have a training that I was going to sell for $97. And I've been selling courses for 12 years and, they're always I've been very blessed. My customers, my audience is, very active. I suspect I would sell hundreds of those. But, we talked about this a little bit before we got on the call. You know what? I'm okay with not giving that information, not selling that training. I'll let your audience have it first. Okay.
Awesome.
And then I won't do that or in anywhere, not in my courses, not in public, on anybody else's webinar. I won't release that for, let's say, 6 months.
I love it. Love it. What is it on? Can you give me some idea on what's the training on?
So, what I decided to teach today is actually a sneak peek. So I was going to call it like map defense, because what it is it's a collection of very straightforward tactics, exactly how I presented it to you today. Here's the issue. Here's why it matters. Here's how you can fix it. And here's how you can prevent it. Okay. All the methods, everything I teach is going to be that exact format. They're going to be simple and straightforward. You don't have to have any, matter of fact, you don't even have to be an expert. You could be a small business owner and utilize this. If you're an SEO consultant and you're not using these, then it's going to be part of your toolkit. And actually, it's a great way. Let's say that you're an SEO consultant and you get this training from me. What you can do is you can go to your customer and you can, do an email, right? Or add it into another email that you're doing saying, by the way, just to let you know, these are some current issues that have been occurring, that have been causing, mass, problems, across the country. Just wanted to let you know that we're on top of things. And we've implemented, techniques to make sure that this doesn't affect your business.
So it's all around maps.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Thank you.
It's all maps. Yeah. It's all maps. And so, I can tell you from personal experience, emails like that to your customer are very impressive because it increases your authority, but it also increases your trust and your relationship.
Absolutely. Being proactive. That is, first of all, thank you. I truly appreciate that, right? You're giving it away. And that's something of value because, and I've seen the personal hand early in my years, something would go wrong and then the client would scream and then I would fix. Eventually I'd lose the client. I've seen being a little bit proactive, they truly kind of the trust and relationship belief goes up with us, right? They stay longer term, they kind of trust you and all that. It's awesome. So thank you again.
And when you're proactive about it, when they don't even know that there's a problem or a potential issue, and you're proactive and say, hey, just a quick tip, want to let you know that there's all these things that are going on, you don't have to worry about it. So, because we got you taken care of. So just in case you happen to, someone was talking about it or, you read something on Google or you saw it on the news, have you heard about it? You can rest assured that we've got you protected and you're taken care of.
That's awesome.
And that's good.
Awesome. Thank you so
and
much.
It's real too, by the way. It's not fake sincerity. It's real sincerity, right? My clients are very dear to me.
Absolutely,
they're very dear to me.
I mean, if they've been, like you said, if your average client has been with you for 7 years, they're not just clients. You have a good relationship with them, right?
Yes. And I care about them. Like I said before, what I'm doing for them, my clients, like I said, are in the $2 to $4 million range. So typically they have anywhere between 5 and 20 employees, right? So if I do my job properly, then it's a blessing 2 ways. Well, 3 ways technically. So blessing number 1 is I make money, which is great for me, right? Blessing number 2 is the business makes more money. And so the employees make more money. So that's blessing number 2. But blessing number 3 is I'm facilitating customers getting service from people who deserve to get their business, because I don't work with people that are crooks. And in fact, I've turned down people for that. I've turned down people that I met them in person and I heard some of the things they said and I thought, nah,
exactly.
This doesn't sound like they have the customer first. Sounds like money is more important to them than the customer. And that's not how I work. If you take care of the customer, the money's going to take care of itself.
Customer's king. I love it. No, I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your time, man. I'd love to continue talking to you, but I know it's almost an hour now. So I think this is the longest I've probably had, interview. And you just jumped and shared your screen. That was crazy. That's amazing. I thank you.
Well, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you again. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, good to hear from you. And I will start developing that training that I mentioned. And I'll have that available within a week or so.
Absolutely. Yeah. By November 15th is when I plan to launch it to everybody and all that. So by then I'll reach out to you offline. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no problem. I'll have it to you, let's say by the 7th or something.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.